Yes, I started in Bulldogs because of my dad. He bought our first puppy in 1980, and since then I had always been in Bulldogs and in dogs. I had um, owned a lot of different breeds, but always we had a Bulldog.
What other breeds did you own?
When I was a kid, my dad used to bought a Boston Terrier, also bought a Boxer, a Labrador Retriever, but always we had the Bulldogs, the English Bulldogs.
Were they always your favorite, no matter what?
I was very uh, young, so I didn't have many options. I think it was the breeds and the dogs that my dad liked.
Yeah. Was your dad involved in the dog show world, or he just loved
Yes,
dogs?
he started also showing very early. I think the first dog was like 1980, and the first show maybe was 1982, something like that.
Wow.
He was a banker. He used to work in a bank. He studied business administration, and his dream was to have a bulldog. In, always bulldogs have been very expensive, but in that time, having a bulldog was like having a Rolex, no? So
Yeah.
for his dream was to have a bulldog. So when he had the opportunity, he bought the bulldog, and the breeder told him, "You are buying a very nice dog. You should go to shows." And after a couple of years, he started showing the dogs.
Yeah. English bulldogs have such a distinctive look. When you picture your ideal bulldog, what traits come to mind physically and also temperament wise?
I think definitely you have to think always in balance, and not only in bulldogs, in any breed. You can have a dog with a beautiful head and an awful body, or a nice bone and bad angulations, or good angulations but a long body. So I think first is you need to learn about dogs in general, and then study the breed standard, and then search for the dog you want. I always like to give the example of a doctor. Uh, you cannot be um a doctor for eyes, because first you need to be a general doctor. Normally in dogs we do the wrong way. We first try to be an eye doctor and then a general doctor. So I think it's easier if first you learn about dogs in general, the types of teeth, the types of bones, any all the difference about dogs in general. And in temperament, I think the bulldog has the appearance of an aggressive dog, but bulldogs are companion dogs that may be really sweet with kids, with adults, with other dogs.
Bulldogs have, like I said, just have such a distinctive look. And when you look at, uh, say, a Labrador Retriever, and you evaluate it from head to toe, and then you look at an English Bulldog that goes against the idea of what a good dog is, like with rear angulation and top lines and stuff. There are some variations there. Could you talk about those little variations that people see and they don't realize what they're looking at as far as a bulldog?
Well, you are giving me the reason, because, for example, if you know about dogs in general, normally all the dogs might have the straight back, or a scissor bite, or many things, a stop in the head, and all those things in bulldogs are wrong. One of my mentors, that was a very famous judge, told me, I don't know why you like the bulldogs. Bulldogs are the anti-dog. Is everything that is correct in a normal dog is bad in a bulldog. So I think that's the reason why you need first to know uh, about general, so you can understand and also study the standard, because when you study the standard, it says that the bite needs to be pregnant. But for example, is not the same. This is a scissor bite, and this is a pregnant. Okay, but it's not the same like this than like this. So that's the things the breeders need to work. That a good bite pregnant for bulldog is this one, not this one. So I insist. First you need to learn about dogs in general. Go
Uh,
ahead.
English Bulldogs can face a lot of health challenges, for example, breathing, joints, skin issues, and more. What steps are you taking in your program to breed dogs that are healthier overall and can lead to an active, more comfortable life?
Uh, well, we need to go a little back to the history that bulldogs have been modified around the years, and we need to remember they were used to fight against bulls, the famous cruel activity named bull baiting, around the year 1210, and it was a very different dog from the actual bulldog. That bulldog was aggressive, very active. Uh, so when they prohibit this activity, a group of breeders that try to keep the breed uh, start selecting dogs with very different qualities, like instead of an aggressive dog, a very sweet dog. So actually, the the bulldog, they work a lot on the temperament to search for friendly dogs, and actually you see nice dogs according to the bulldog standard, if you are breeding according to the bulldog standard. Uh, so what I try is first to breed dogs according to the bulldog standard, but always working on getting healthier dogs. We have all the tools to do health tests to our dogs, and the ethic of the breeder is very important, because the breeder will decide which dogs can continue in his breeding product program or which not. So that's what I try to do. I try to breed dogs that in appearance are the closest to the standard, and to do all the health things I can that are in my hands to get healthier dogs every day.
How do you balance uh, and maintain a classic bulldog type with improving the function and overall vitality?
Uh, I think the the type you get it studying the standard and showing your dogs, and if you have success in dog shows, it means you are doing the right things on the pigs you get from your leaders, and also maybe on the dogs you bought. Uh, I bought a lot of dogs. I what I like to win in the ring. For me, it doesn't matter if I own the dog or I breed him or I hadn't breed him. I like to win, and I think that the way that when how you can check that you are doing the right job is showing your dogs, and showing and winning, no, not only showing.
I've noticed you put a lot of emphasis on nutrition. What does a good feeding program look like for you, and how does it impact the development of your dogs?
For example, you need certain nutrition for puppies, certain nutrition for adult dogs, certain nutrition for senior dogs, and also special food for dogs that are in shows. Many people want to see a bad pet quality puppy with the body of a top show puppy. That is genetic, that is not nutrition. If the dog is not if it's a pet and a bad pet, you can feed salmon and it won't get uh, as a show puppy, right? So I think that's my opinion, and also that a lot of people love to supplement the food, and I think we have lot of brands and different qualities, and if you give a good quality, I think you don't need to give any supplement. Sometimes maybe in a dog that is showing every weekend or traveling a lot, maybe a dog like that may need a little bit of supplements, but just a little bit. When you are feeding good food, you don't need to give supplements. And also, it's the same thing. Many people doesn't have the dog that has the quality, and they think that if they give a lot of calcium and magnesium, the dog will get really nice. And they don't know that that can also be bad for the dog, and put a bad front, and do many bad things to the health of the dog instead of helping.
When you place puppies with families, what advice do you give them about the first year of raising a bulldog?
When I place a puppy or an adult, um, the new owners get my full mentorship. They can send me a message anytime. Uh, the only thing I the only thing I ask is that don't call me, because I'm a lawyer and sometimes I'm very busy with my work. But WhatsApp or text message or an email, I can answer when I have my free times. So they get full mentorship. And I had the fortune that I'm 46, so I have been all my life in dogs. So I know really good veterinarians, very good trainers, very good handlers. So depending on the question, normally I have the right answer, so the owner can do the right way. No.
Your program has some, impressive bloodlines and champions. What do you think sets your dogs apart from uh, others in the breed? Here in the states and in Mexico.
I think first, as I told you, I had the luck that I was born with bulldogs. That my dad bought always with top breeders. Um, then when I was a teenager, I studied a lot about dogs and bulldogs, and I have educated my eye day by day. Um, the worst thing is when you think you know everything. I'm sure in dogs every day you can learn a new thing, and I think we need to approach all the advances of technology, that you can buy or breed a dog at any place in the world. You can get in touch with any breeder, uh, vet, handler. Many things are easier nowadays. Example is our interview. I'm in Mexico City at my home, and you're at your home. And many years ago, this was impossible. No?
Can you talk about your approach to socializing puppies? What experiences do you make sure they have before they leave your care?
I think it's very important to have a lot of contact with the puppies, to touch them, to put them toys, to play with them, to put them to play with another puppies from different ages. I had also try always to bring kids to play with them. Uh, for me, it's easy because I have little nephews, so I invite them and they are happy playing with the puppies. And even though I think temperament is hereditary, and but socializing is very important. It's a big difference to get a puppy from a professional breeder than from a meal, a puppy meal, or a pet store in health, beauty, and temperament.
How do you how do you see the future of the English Bulldog evolving, both in the show ring and as a family companion?
I'm worried about that because I think around the world more people are adopting dogs and is very respectful, as also is very respectful to buy a pure breed dog. The mistake I think is that animal lovers are against breeders, but there are two types of breeders. There are ones that are the professional breeders that invest a lot of money on preserving a breed, bringing healthy and nice dogs. And the other kind of breeders are the puppy mills, the backyard breeders, that they don't invest in anything than in breeding and breeding and pure quality dogs. Uh, a real breeder loves and takes care about dogs more than anybody. Uh, and pure breeds have a specific functions like a guard dog, a companion dog, a sport dog, a police dog. So that's my opinion.
If someone's thinking about getting their first bulldog, what are some of the things that you hope they understand before they buy a puppy from you?
I think first they need to be conscious that it's an absolute compromise to have a dog. You need time, you need money, you need the space. Always search for a professional breeder or a local club of the breed, an official organization like the American Kennel Club in US, the Mexican Federation in Mexico. Depends on your country, but you will always find an official organization. And another thing I think is you need to study the breed standard, and the most things you can study about bulldogs or about the dog you want. It doesn't matter if it's a bulldog; it's the same rules, I think. And after you do all this, then you can get it.
With so much information and misinformation online about bulldogs, how do you help potential customers sort out fact from myth?
I think if you get the time to study, it's difficult to get a bad dog. There are wonderful websites that are only puppy mills, and there are top breeders that maybe they don't even have a website. Uh, I think you never buy a dog from somebody that doesn't show dogs. I think that can be a big red flag because any professional breeder needs to show dogs to see if he's doing the right job.
Looking back over the years, all your years in bulldogs, what's one lesson or piece of wisdom you'd share with a new bulldog breeder just starting out?
I think first try to have mentors. Um, study. I have mentioned these words a lot of times in the interview. And you need to have a lot of patience. It's impossible to build a tower in one day. I think that is the best tip I can tell you.
These are all things, as for me as a bulldog person who's almost not as extensively raised with them like you were, but I had them as a kid and then as an adult. And what are some of the things, like health wise has always been a concern of mine, and I've been lucky with the Bulldogs that I've had. They've all lived to at least 10 years old. But today, as we kind of talked about, there are so many different breeders out there that are breeding dogs with the sole purpose of either selling the puppy or winning a ribbon. And how do you rectify that and be able to breed for a healthier standard when maybe sometimes the standard in certain fads are causing some more of the health issues?
I think a lot is the ethic of the breeder. Uh, for many years, I have heard that, oh, my dog is champion, is beautiful, but it has hip dysplasia. But I used it once, and the puppies were okay. And that can be true, but the grandsons might not. So if you are an ethic breeder, you need to know that we can always have a dog with hip dysplasia. The ethic is I need to spay that dog and don't use it anymore in my breeding program. And this is just as an example of one of the issues, but bulldogs have a lot of issues. But I think that when you work on the health exams, you can get the next generation healthier and healthier and healthier, and more that also the technology nowadays in those kind of exams is huge. So you can do an 80 and DNA test, and the DNA test give you a lot of information. And the problem is that the backyard breeders don't like to spend on that kind of things, no?
I agree with you. There are some caveats to my opinion here, is that I feel like the good breeders, and I'm specifically talking in the United States and in Canada, uh, they really want the breed to succeed and they want their dogs and their program to flourish. And I totally appreciate that. And there's a lot of good quality people involved. But what I see is they kind of gatekeep new people or people who may be good for the breed, but maybe not fit their exact way of thinking. So they don't deal with them. And those good people get blocked out. And unfortunately, um, they go on to other breeds, or they go the alternate route, the non-standard type dogs, because there's a lot of gatekeeping with the bloodlines and stuff like that. And I think the gene pool is it seems so large, but yet it's so small when you look at the coefficient of inbreeding, that the percentages and all that. It's a lot higher than maybe you would think it is. And I think, unfortunately, we don't educate people enough about the breed. It's just become kind of a fad. Now that the economy isn't as good, that's going away. But my example is, do you think people in the show world, for example, sometimes gatekeep their dogs and don't let new people get involved, and that can hinder preservation as much as it seems like it's helping their program, and they don't want their dogs to go to somebody that they don't feel like is going to do what they want. But at the same time, eventually those bloodlines will go away if you're not letting dogs go to people that are motivated and want to do the right things by breeding, even if it may not be exactly what you want. Do you foresee that as an issue, or do you think the gatekeeping is what's keeping the breed as functional as it is right now?
I really understand you a lot because it's a problem from not from one country. It's a problem all around the world. So there are a lot of breeders that are really good, very successful, but they don't want new people on the breed, or they don't want to teach new people. I think that's a very stupid thing. And as you say, uh, those new people that are good for the breed, they can take many different ways. One, they go to the other side buying non-standard bulldogs or dogs, or they really run away from dog shows and dogs, and maybe they were people that were very valuable for the breed. What I try is when I have a prospect owner that asks me for a show dog, or not a show dog, but he wants to start breeding in the right way. I love to teach them because we need new people. If we don't have new people and good people, the breeds will get extinct. Uh, Many years ago, not in Mexico, in US, in many countries, for example, we have entries in a dog show for 100 bulldogs, and now you have 10 or 20. Uh, I think there are two reasons. One is that the world economy is not okay. But even though the world economy is not okay, uh, the big problem is a lot of good people had run, and had run because of those bad breeders that are good breeders, but they don't want to give advice, good advice. No, so that's why uh, you don't need only one mentor. I think you can have many mentors, and I can tell you do black, but you need to check if somebody else tell you the same, or tells you do gray or do white, and you have your own opinion. But I think you need to look for good mentors, and not only one. And when you find somebody that doesn't want to share, there are a lot of people that can share.
Yeah, it's just a matter of finding, one or two people to believe in you, and sometimes that's the discouraging part. But if you're patient, I guess. Um, can you talk about the different standards, if there is any, between the FCI dogs and, say, the AKC dogs? And
I had to learn the both standards because uh, in AKC they have the AKC standard, and I had judged a lot of times in the states, and in all the other countries I had judged they use the FCI standard. I don't think there is a really big difference. I think the good dog is a good dog in China or in Mexico or in Canada or in any place. Mm, I like a lot of things from the AKC standard. Nothing on the description. What I like is that they put points on the different. For example, I don't remember the exact points, but maybe the head is 40 points. Uh, you need to get 100 points, and the head is 40 points, and the tail is maybe 2 or 3 points. So I have heard many judges around the world that said, "Oh, that dog has an awful tail." Yes, but in the AKC standard is 2 or 3 points, and even though the FCI doesn't say anything about the the tail, a bad thing, um, I think in your breeding program is easier to fix a tail than to fix a bad head, no, or a nosy dog. So that's what I like. That I agree with the points of the AKC standard.
When I ask you if you're looking, you do this breeding, and it's a pairing that you're really excited about, and you're planning on keeping a puppy. Um, can you explain to me what exactly you're looking for when it's a puppy? Because for a layman, it's hard to visualize what a smart dog person like yourself can see at 8, 10, 12 weeks that says, okay, that's my keeper. That is the highest percentage of success that I'm going to get. And I like this one. Can you explain to me what that looks like?
Yes, of course. For me, it's very easy in my own dogs. Why? Because maybe I have seen in person 10 or 12 or 13 generations. So that gives you a lot of idea of how they will be. And I have like the rule that a puppy, as he is at the 10 weeks, he will be like that when he's an adult. But that is on my dogs. On my dogs that I don't own, it's pretty similar because sometimes the pedigrees are famous. So you have seen a picture of the dad, the grandsire, the great grandsire. So I think I will tell these words 100 times. You need to study. If you study the breed, the the pedigrees, it doesn't matter if the dog is in Spain, and if you have been studying the pedigree of the dog and the success in the shows and the offspring of his puppies, of how he's throwing puppies, uh, you can get um, something really particular. No, also many people think that this is like a recipe, like if you put uh, a long dog with a short dog, you get the medium dog, and it's not like that. That will be really easy. Uh, Maybe you are not a chef, but if I give you the exact recipe and you do it like that, maybe you can get it really close, like a chef. And dog breeding is not like that. Dog breeding, uh, what is very important are the genetics. So sometimes you can breed two long dogs, but the genetics are not of long dogs, and you have standard bodies, for an example.
So when I say paint me a picture with your words, what is a perfect English bulldog or close to perfect for you? And how does that measure towards the standard? What are some of the variations, or is it just like the standard?
Um, I don't know if you have heard about a lady in US named Betty Davy. Uh, she has her own website, and she used to be a breeder, and she's a great artist in bulldogs, and she made a drawing about the perfect bulldog. So she sells this drawing, and I have one of those in my house. And many people arrives and says, "Oh wow, that's beautiful. That's your dog." And I said, "No, it's an imagined dog that is like perfection." Uh, but I think what does that painting has in that is really special is the balance. That is a dog with a nice head, with a nice body, with nice bones, with nice nose. So when you get balance, you always need to get balance. I think for me the perfect dog is balance. The best dogs I had owned, they were always dogs with very good balance.
Yeah, I'm always geared towards the dogs, English bulldogs that uh, are slightly a little more athletic. I like a smaller male, and a lot of people they don't like that, but I like kind of a, a medium to even on the lower end of the spectrum male for whatever reason. It's always what caught my eye, and then I like a big female. So I like a big beefy female. uh, it's just been my what catches my eye first, you know.
I think I used to think like you. Long time ago, I preferred the females that were male looking, and when I start judging, I learned that there are some things that they cannot go on your taste. Uh, a good head is a good head. What it can be a thing of picking maybe is the color, no? Uh, but if I'm judging and I prefer a brindle dog, but I have a better balance and conformation dog that is red and white, even though my color is a brindle, the winner will be the red and white. So that's interesting because um, that's what I say to people when they are asking me if you're buying a dog for you, it doesn't matter if it is uh, red or white or brindle. I think you need to go for the temperament, for maybe the color you like. But if it is a dog for show, you need you need to block your eyes on the color and many things. No, so it depends on what you like. Uh, when you're judging, that is not of likes. No, you need to judge the standard.
If there's anything about the standard that you would like see change, what is that?
I think the standard is really good. I think the they had made little modifications, but nothing specialized. I think what the the country of the origin of the breed that is England, uh, what they have been making a lot of emphasis is on trying to get healthier dogs, and and the healthier dog is not a problem of the breed; it's a problem of the breeder. So I think if we have ethic breeders, we will have healthy dogs always.
I don't want to get too deep into that. That's a really hard subject. Is today that I see is uh, too many breeders in the United States selling to other breeders that are selling to other breeders, and that quality pet bulldog isn't getting into the hands of the right people that maybe one day would take that dog into the confirmation show
Yeah,
and get involved. But we already kind of touched upon that. What is you talked about the diet, and it's such a huge issue for bulldog owners or prospective buyers to understand that bulldog uh, diets are sometimes very finicky is what they can do, and all the bulldogs that I've had have never really been very they haven't done well on chicken, so we've always done everything else besides chicken. But that could have been the quality of the food or whatever. But um, do you do you see that in the bulldog world, more and more people are trying to go to the raw diet, or do you see people realizing, hey, I got to pull back and really start looking where I can find quality kibble?
I think long time ago, you didn't have many options. No, there was like all the dog food were from chicken. No, and there wasn't like many different qualities. And nowadays, and also it was chicken because it was not really chicken. It was uh, sometimes I had I used to be owner of a distribution of dog food, so I need to study about these things. And sometimes the bag says chicken, and you read the little letters, and it's not chicken. It can be the bone of the chicken or the many things. So so I think nowadays we have the fortune that you try one food. You said you had a dog that didn't work well with chicken, but you can use salmon, and and maybe there is another dog that salmon doesn't. It's okay. Now we have food with no grains, and we have holistic food. We have the raw food. We have really a bunch of options. Uh, I don't agree too much with the barf recipe or the raw food because for me is difficult to handle because I think you need to have a fridge to put the food. I think that when you feed the dog that kind of food, then he doesn't want to eat anything more. Uh, so I don't use nothing of that. I only use dry food, and I use different brands depending on. There are dogs that you can put a huge uh, bag, and he will finish it. So that kind of dogs you need to measure the right amount of food, or so they don't get too fat. And maybe I have now a puppy that is 6 7 months, and he is like that. He can eat a bag. So I feed him senior uh, food just for him because he I can give a little amount of puppy food, but he will be starving. So what I do is I give the normal amount so he don't feel starving, but the senior food, the protein is really low. So he eats good and he is not fat. So that's what I do a lot of emphasis on the nutrition. The the nutrition depends on the age, on the size, on the weight, many things. There are also dogs that are very picky to eat, and you can give the best brand you find, and they don't like it. So to those kind of dogs, I mix the dry food with uh, with raw food. But I like a special can that is a prescription can that is for dogs that have very low weight. That, for example, they were in surgery and they arrive with you very skinny. So normally the doctor prescribes that can. But if you give that can to the puppy I told you that eat everything, he will get uh, fat, fat, fat. No, so that's why it's like a very special thing that you cannot give one bag to everybody. You know, you need to study your own dogs and to see which fits uh, your 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 needs and also which things you can pay because there are also a lot of brands that are really really expensive.
So this is a question I love to ask bulldog people, because when I talk to people in the know about bulldogs from around the world outside of North America, and where are some really good bulldogs being bred outside of you know Canada, US, and Mexico? What part of the world right now is breeding excellent bulldogs?
I think long time ago was England and US, and like 10 years ago, Mexico was the top place for bulldogs. People around the world came to buy dogs to Mexico. And actually, uh, the last time I was in England, I didn't like the dogs. Sorry for the people from England that will hate me, but I didn't see anything that I really liked. Uh, I like the dogs I saw from Spain, were very, very nice. I think now, actually, in Europe, the best place or the best quality, I had seen it in Spain. And in America and South America, I think Mexico now is not in the best place. Uh, we have quality, but not the top quality we used to have. And in the States, I think it's the same. And one country that is getting involved in the breed and doing a great job, I think, is Peru. Uh, you have seen around the world a lot of dogs winning that are bred in Peru. Uh, in the back, those pedigrees has Mexican and American bloodlines, but they are doing a great job.
Sometimes it does take kind of a mix of really good bloodlines to create your own bloodline, I guess.
So,
But I have heard on numerous occasions throughout the years that Mexico was always at the top of the list as far as English bulldogs were concerned. And that's interesting that you said Peru. I had heard one at one point, I think it was Ecuador had some nice, like there was like one or two really top end breeders, but maybe I've heard that wrong.
many years ago, there was a guy in Ecuador that was breeding really good dogs, and I was his mentor, and all his dogs were for me. And he was
Yeah.
like 5 years the best breeder of bulldog of the year, and many things. Uh, but actually, the place is Peru. If you watch Peru, you will see very nice dogs. They also have European bloodlines, and there are not one breeder. There are many breeders, and you find nice dogs, nice bloodlines. The handlers are excellent. I think today the place to watch in America is Peru, and in Europe Spain.
How is the new rules in America with our USDA as far as being able to share bloodlines and dogs across the border? It's a lot harder for us to import dogs. And have you noticed that in your breeding program, and less people from the States or Canada or mid the States really being able to get exchange, you know?
I'm involved in that subject too. Uh, when when the COVID starts, a lot of people start buying dogs, and there were some accidents on brachycephalic breeds. So maybe I bought a dog in California and it arrived dead to Mexico City. So many airlines start prohibiting that, and what they had made is they are doing a special paperwork to travel a dog as it has a special name. Is a service dog. So if you get the paperwork for a service dog, you can get the dog with you in the airplane. Uh, but I think these things that breeders are doing is bad because uh, airlines are not stupid. They used to have one service dog in the year, now they have 100 service dog in a month. No, so coming back to the question, US, what is doing is, if I buy a pup in US, the rules are the same from US to Mexico City or to Mexico. But if you buy a dog from Mexico, normally I could ship you a dog from 12 weeks, and there was no problem. Now they have changed the rules, and they want that the new law is that it has to be a puppy at least 6 months old. So now that's the only way you can get a puppy that is not born in the States. And I think in the future they will change the rules about the service dogs, because I think they will put more rules to check that it's really a service dog. No.
Yeah, they'll probably come up with some sort of stricter process that you have to go through
Yeah.
to actually take the dog in to get it evaluated or something. Yeah.
Because, for example, if I have a show in 2 weeks in Oklahoma, in 24 hours I get in my computer and I put a picture of the dog and my picture, and I pay I think $100, and I have my service dog certificate in 24 hours. So that is not a really service dog.
So besides English Bulldogs, what breed of dog really captures your heart at this point?
My favorite breed is not bulldog. I I have bulldogs and I love bulldogs because I was born in bulldogs. But my favorite breed is Doberman. I love Dobermans. Uh, I don't breed them because it's difficult to place them, because always the people says, or oh, in I saw in a movie that the government killed 10 guys and blah blah blah. So they think that those things they watch in the movies are the same in the life. But it's not true. I think Doberman is a very nice breed and very loyal. Mm, it's easy to have it in the car, to travel with it. And a bulldog you cannot travel as easy, because you need, if you have it in your car, you need the air conditioner, or to be aware about the heat and many things. And I think a Doberman is a dog that can do more things, no, than a bulldog. So one of my top breeds is Doberman, and like 10 years ago I start with Shih Tzus. I have some Shih Tzus, uh, but I don't think I will show any more Shih Tzus. To show a Shih Tzu is really difficult to have the coat as you need it for the show. Uh, so I think the Shih Tzus will be only as a pet at home. Uh, I have Frenchies. I breed a little bit of Frenchies. I have license to judge English and Frenchies. I think Frenchies and Bulldogs are very similar in a lot of things. Like the breeding is pretty similar, and it's smaller breed. It's less. I think it has a lot of things that are nice. Um, but I have a I used to have a Great Dane. I have a Labrador Retriever now. I love dogs. I always have like 15 to 20 dogs on my stuff.
I'm right there with you. I have five right now. I have three French Bulldogs, an 11-year-old, soon to be 11-year-old Shih Tzu, and then I have a guard dog. He's a Turkish Shepherd. He's a mix of Anatolian and Akbash and Kangal. So he's all three of the breeds. He came from a working farm in Kansas because I used to live in Missouri. And so, as you can hear him,
Yeah.
he guards the little ones for me. He's a great deterrent. But no, I'm like you. If I had more time and space, I would definitely have a couple more breeds
Yeah.
to try them out and see how they interact with. But is there anything that we didn't cover that you would like to convey?
I just want to thank you for the interview and to tell everybody that my Facebook is always open. You can send me a message or you can visit my website. There is my email, and you can send me a WhatsApp. I'm open to help you in anything I can.
Well, Victor, I really appreciate it. And like I said, I've been a fan for a while, just watching your stuff and seeing your Bulldogs and see how conscientious you are with the dogs and smart and all of the things that I like in somebody that's in the dog world. Victor Lopez Marquez. He was born on July 23, 1978, in Mexico City. He is a tax lawyer and, as a hobby, a dog breeder and judge. His family always liked bulldogs. In 1980, he got his first bulldog. In 1981, the first litter was born, and since then, he has been involved in the world of dogs. He owns the kennel Ole Bulldogs, registered with the FCI as VLM Bulldogs. He has bred champions of these breeds, English Bulldogs, Dobermans, and Labrador Retrievers. He has owned or bred Mexican, American, international, and world champions. Currently, he breeds English Bulldogs, but he also owns French Bulldogs, Dobermans, Labrador Retrievers, and Shih Tzus. He judges English and French Bulldogs, but he would like to become an all breed judge one day. He has judged in many countries. Memberships: member of the Mexican Canine Federation, member of the Bulldog Club of America, member of the Bulldog Club of Mexico City, member of the Mexican French Bulldog Club, member of the Mexican Doberman Club, Canine Work, three-time president of the Bulldog Club of Mexico City, past president of the Mexican French Bulldog Club, judge, English Bulldog specialty judge in Indiana, U.S., May 2024, English Bulldog specialty judge in Sao Paulo, Brazil, June 2022, English Bulldog specialty judge during the Bulldog Club of America National Show Week, November 2021. English Bulldog specialty judge in Pennsylvania, February 2020. English Bulldog specialty judge in Dallas, Texas, December 2019. English and French Bulldog specialty judge in Guatemala, April 2019. English and French Bulldog specialty judge in Bulgaria, May 2018. English Bulldog specialty judge in Peru, July 2015. English Bulldog specialty judge in California,
2015. English Bulldog specialty judge in Oklahoma, 2014. English Bulldog judge at the Brazilian National Specialty Show organized by the Abra Bull Club, 2014. English Bulldog specialty judge in Salvador, September 2012. English Bulldog specialty judge in Bogota, Colombia, September 2012. English Bulldog sweepstakes judge in Seattle, August 2011. All breed match judge in Ensenada, 2011. English Bulldog specialty judge in Mexico City, June 2010. Victor's best of breed was Bulldog of the Year in Mexico and winner Bitch at the BCA Nationals. English Bulldog sweepstakes judge in Oklahoma, September 2009.